Maggie's my daughter. At 24, she lived here in Roswell, grew up in Roswell most of her life. She, at 20, she was an athlete. She played basketball, softball, went to college on a softball scholarship. And after college, at 24, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, which started a whole journey that we had never, ever imagined, and learned a lot along the way. And one of the things is the effects of chemotherapy on your fertility. So she decided to freeze her eggs prior to treatment so that she would have the opportunity of having a child after she survived cancer. That's where we came from.
Tell us more about Team Maggie's dream.
Team Maggie's dream. So our dream is to help other cancer patients, which when we sat in chemo one day, Maggie's sitting there with a whole lot of other chemo patients getting chemo at the same time, and she's having a conversation with a lady, and this was one of the things that really struck me. And she's like happy now because she's saved her eggs, they're in a freezer, so now let's get on with this treatment, let's get rid of this cancer. And this lady says to her, it's her last chemo that day, and Maggie looks at her and she goes, congratulations, that's awesome. She goes, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And at 24, I'm sitting there listening to her as her mom going, I wonder what she's thinking right now. How can you say that, right? So of course I didn't want to interrupt their conversation. So at the end of the day, when you have chemo, you're there all day. We're walking to the car and I looked at her and I said, okay, Max, so what were you thinking today? And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, you told that lady, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you. So Maggie was, obviously when you find out you have cancer, you're like down and out. But the thing that brought her back up before treatment was the fact that she knew cancer wasn't going to take her opportunity to have a baby away. Whether God said, yes, you're going to have a baby or not, God still has that control over all of us, right? So the fact of just freezing those eggs and knowing she still had an opportunity, the same dream that you have as a little girl, to get married and have babies. She was like, okay, I'm fine now. I go on, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to go through my treatment and I'm going to just move on in life. And she did go on to have a baby. And just the attitude switch helped her get through the chemo, helped her get to the other side of putting cancer behind her.
Wow. That's the part of the story I never heard. Wow.
Well, there are so many pieces. It's just incredible.
Yeah, no, and I think this is why this is fascinating, right? To be able to have this conversation, right? Because, how do you get the weight and the density of what you're doing out in, a corporate statement? You can't, how do you put that on a website? It's hard to do it, how do we have those conversations at an event? There's so much going on, so it's great to be able to sit down and to have like these kind of coffee talk kind of conversations, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it's pretty cool. All right, one story of how Team Maggie's Dream has helped a family, an individual, a couple in their pursuit of really beating cancer and allowing them to be able to grow their families.
We hear all the time to these young people that get cancer, it's more devastating to them to hear the words, not only that you have cancer, but it's even worse to hear, and you're probably not going to be able to have a biological child. So they come back. It's amazing to me. Some of them stay just connected with Team Maggie and they get pregnant and they are so excited and so happy. I mean, they can't wait to call and say, I'm using my eggs. I can't wait to see what happens. And I'm going to tell you, there's a good and a bad because not everybody's going to have a baby. But that's life, no matter what. So, but when you get that call and go, Mary, guess what? I'm pregnant. It's just like, it's awesome. that's just awesome. It's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
And to go back to the board and say, look, you guys, this is what I heard today.
Mhm.
Because I don't hear that,
Mhm.
so I have to share it. And it just, it makes them want to continue to do what they're doing because it, that becomes full circle. We get to see a picture of a baby that they had that may never have existed had they not saved their eggs.
Yeah, and we have young children. I remember how exciting it was when we found out that Danae was pregnant. So it has to mean that much more to really go from opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Where you're almost facing death because of cancer and the things that come along with treating it and the chemo and all those things, to swing to the other side of the pendulum where you're fertile and you're producing life.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. What's better than that? If you
Yeah.
want to have children, what's better than that?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I mean, yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's next for Team Maggie's Dream? What's coming up? What's coming down the pipeline?
Well, we have Giving Tuesday, which is November 29th.
Okay.
In December, we do a donation for endowment, our endowment. And I don't know if you know what an endowment is, but that's makes us sustainable. So it's money that never gets used except for to earn money, so that every year the organization will have X amount of money sitting there waiting for them each year, and the endowment just sits there and grows. So we do that in December. So it's a way for other people that want to get involved in what we do and know the feeling of having a child and what that means to everybody. It gives them an opportunity to help make that happen.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so if someone wants to get involved with Team Maggie's Dream, how can they find you? How can they get in touch with you? What are some of the things that they can do to help the cause?
There's lots of things. We have lots of volunteers and we need more. So we have things that you can do on a daily basis, on a once a month basis, on a yearly basis if you want to just help at an event. But there's always things that can be done. So if you go to Team Maggie's Dream with an S, Team Maggie's with an S, dream.org, there's a place on there you can sign up to do whatever you choose to do. And we would welcome anything you would like to do. And whatever time constraints you have, we'll be glad to work with you.